I will give you my really short answer, and it's one I really care about. Is that if you look at the foundation of healthy human societies in hunter-gatherer bands, in which people live together, just 40 or 50 people their whole lives, and hominid bands before that for another couple million years of tool manufacturing hominids. In those small bands, the objective conditions were present of common truth, common welfare, and common justice. They're baked in to living together with 40, 50 people your whole life. But when you have agriculture and surpluses that enable concentrations of wealth and power, you start having incredible inequalities. And that blows up those conditions. You no longer have common truth because you can hide all kinds of stuff. You don't any longer have common welfare. Your fates are not tied together. And you no longer have common justice. Rich man's law, poor man's law, in the saying. And so the restoration of common truth, welfare, and justice deliberately with the 8 billion members now of the whole human tribe worldwide, increasingly interconnected, is our challenge in the 21st century. And to accomplish that result, I think there are multiple things that will help. But one of the most fundamental is to make telling the truth and playing fair the primary issue. I don't think the primary political issues of our day are not about left or right. They're about those who are committed to telling the truth and playing fair and those who are not. Period. Full stop. And so for me, one of the things we can do in ways large and small, including with these trolls on the internet, is to just go right to the real issue when you start to see it, that they're operating in bad faith. When people tell the truth and play fair, they compete, they argue, they have conflicts. You ought to watch my wife and me earlier today, Whoa. Not, well, it wasn't horrible, but little things. People disagree. We're rough and tumble. We're big, we're big monkeys. Okay. But there's a world of difference between those who are committed to telling the truth and playing fair and those who are not. And so that's one thing we can do, and no one can stop us from doing it. There are other things we can do together that I've talked about, banding together and so forth. But I would just name that right there to foreground it. The real issue is truth telling and fair play. Bad process. Good process creates good results. Bad process creates bad results. If you've got a country like America in which we're seeing all kinds of bad results in our politics, the underlying engine of that is bad process. And that's what's important to speak to. And to do what our ancestors did in these small bands, to name, shame, and punish freeloaders. Otherwise, there's no penalty for lying and cheating. And it's very rewarding, especially if you get away with it. That's a fairly blunt, quick response. Hopefully helpful, something I've thought about a lot. And I actually, if you go to my website, you can see talks I gave in my sitting group at the start of the year on Sila, on virtuous conduct as the foundation of all happiness, 4 talks. And the first one laid the foundation. The second of these in January went into climate change and the harming of others through externalizing costs on them. And the third talked about externalizing costs on others and how we behave during a global pandemic, during a plague. And then the fourth one talked about reestablishing the conditions for healthy human politics. So, and I have a pretty detailed write-up for each one of those. So if you go to my website and you look up my Wednesday meditation section in the teachings and kind of bounce around, find what I did back in January, you'll see what I have there if you're interested.